Here's Brody Brazil.
You know, it certainly is interesting, the sequence of events that have led us to having this conversation. You're probably very well aware of the Oakland A's and everything surrounding them in the 2023 season. And then here in early 2024, the Baltimore Orioles were officially sold, which now leads to, again, conversation and most importantly, speculation. We do need to identify it as that the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim might be the next Major League Baseball team to go up for sale. Now, it's also interesting where and how this talk came to be. I mean, certainly it's been discussed at some levels, but how about this on MLB Network Radio?
Somebody who has been in Major League Baseball, worked in Major League Baseball, we talked about the Angels and whether or not they would be the prime team to make the Blake Snell mistake and just give him the money he wants. And we bandied that idea about and decided, they probably wouldn't. It has been suggested by this person to me, having listened to our conversation, that none of this is going to happen because, according to this person, the Angels are about to sell. Artie Moreno's about to sell, according to this person. Somebody in baseball whispered to me, you know what, the Angels aren't going to do much because they're going to sell the team. And then he followed it up by suggesting who the new owner could be. And again, this is speculation.
I guessed
you guessed it.
Break. It was an easy guess.
QB, Mark Cuban.
You might have heard me whispering there. Who calls Mark Cuban QB? Just not me. Anyway, that was Jim Amolo, again, on MLB Network Radio, kind of summarizing everything there, where the Angels have been, where they're at right now, and maybe looking forward what the future of their franchise might actually be, and that is under different ownership. My takeaways start like this. Number one, it's wild that something like that was on a league-owned property of MLB Network Radio. You understand that if this were on sports radio and Southern California or Florida or the state of Maine, it doesn't matter because those entities aren't really responsible to, their owner, which is Major League Baseball. This is an MLB-owned property, a league-owned network, and here they are talking about the potential sale of one of their franchises. Very much speculating here, and again, I can't stress this enough. This is a conversation that somebody had, potentially who knows something from the inside or who knows a trend or a possibility that's likely. There's no names here. There's no official reporting here. It's all speculation. But someone who worked, and I know that was used in multiple different ways, but also in past tense. It makes me really wonder, is that somebody who's far-fetched from the situation? Is that somebody who's in tight? What is really the nature of this source? I'm not going to discredit the source entirely because I don't know who the source is, but certainly you'd have to think that when it comes like this in a speculative sense, it may or may not have all the credibility in the world, but here's the other part about it. The overall premise of the entire situation, it's not far off from a possible reality. If you're saying looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Anybody can make that claim, but we don't actually know in this case what's really going on behind the scenes with the Moreno family. Also, the Mark Cuban angle as a potential buyer. That's been so widely dangled lately that Mark Cuban wanted to buy into an NBA franchise in Las Vegas, or he's going to buy into this or that, and all stemming from the fact that he kind of sold the majority of his ownership of the Dallas Mavericks, something he's been known for a very long time. So what might he get into next? Of course, he's the easiest name, one of the easiest names to kind of throw around in the conversation. So those are my immediate takeaways here, just in terms of the story, the premise of this, the idea, the thought. Is it a possibility? Is it a reality? Is this something that's not even actually happening behind the scenes? Here's my next level of takeaways. Number one, the Angels as a business. Forget their record on and off the field, although that is kind of important, and we'll talk about the struggles and frustrations they've had recently. They're still a franchise that has possession of Mike Trout under contract. One of the best and most interesting and most marketable players in Major League Baseball. And I don't know if the Angels over their years have done him justice or if Trout himself, has done his image, his brand justice. I don't know that, but he still is Mike Trout. And this team is still in one of the biggest media markets in the country and even the world, playing a very popular sport. So the Angels are always going to have tremendous inherent value. You can't necessarily say that about all teams across the league in the same way. They still have Trout, and they're still in Southern California, basically Los Angeles. I mean, it's in the title of their franchise. But they're also a franchise that's having tremendous issues with their stadium, which is aging, and also land redevelopment surrounding it. Let's begin with the stadium side first. It was an original structure from the, late 60s? 1966 or 67. It was basically put up right before the Oakland Coliseum. It's been converted since then to not facilitate football anymore. They totally redid the left field area. They made it way more baseball friendly over the years, but here we are again. It's been a couple decades since the most recent round of improvements. And what they really wanted to do for the last couple years is not necessarily build a brand new stadium somewhere else for the Angels. They wanted to upgrade Angel Stadium again, but then take that surrounding parking lot area and turn it into restaurants, office space, residential probably. They want to make the typical ballpark village that every big league ownership is trying to do. They've already got the stadium. They've already got the land surrounding it, but there came so many issues with Anaheim. I believe the mayor of Anaheim had to resign from office due to some of this drama and controversy. So it has not gone well for the Angels in their pursuits of that stadium village type situation. That has not gone well. Maybe we're at a breaking point because of this. It's too hard to relocate this team or get them a new stadium in Long Beach, for example. So maybe this is the end of that line. And maybe if you're the Angels, you feel more distanced from the Dodgers than ever right now. I mean, look at the offseason for SoCal's other big league team. And Ohtani and Yamamoto, and they keep spending and they keep deferring, and they're rocketing off into a totally different universe from pretty much every major league team. But imagine kind of sharing that market, so to speak, with the Dodgers. So maybe this is a good time to just get out. Take the value of the franchise. Like I said, it's one of the better ones in baseball value-wise. Cash out on the value, move on into something else. And I think the last point here, it kind of deals with the baseball side of the Angels, but it also is the most telling thing about where they stand as a franchise. They've been through several waves of spending and trying to get there. I mean, literally, they had Trout and Ohtani on the same roster for all those years, more than a handful, and they never even made the playoffs with Trout and Ohtani. They never even had, I kid you not, a winning record in a single season with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the team. And it wasn't just those two. They tried to build around them unsuccessfully, just the wrong group of players. Typically, it came down to pitching. But the point is here is that the Angels have always tried and spent more and brought in Rendon, and that's obviously maybe not going to plan. But they've tried this so many times in so many different ways, and it just hasn't worked. And now, this offseason, it doesn't seem like they're in that same mode. And maybe that is kind of what started this speculation and raised a red flag, so to speak, that maybe the Halos have different ambitions, and that's to sell the team rather than try and change this team a whole bunch and then try and sell it. So that might be an indication. I mean, again, we're all speculating here. We're all looking at this. I'm just discussing the rumor that was floated out there, but it's a rumor that doesn't seem terribly far-fetched, that the Angels might be, quote, about to sell. I'm not going to confirm that, obviously. I'm not even going to say that I 100% believe it, but I definitely understand it. And so we'll keep our eye on this, again, with the situation surrounding the A's for the last couple years, with the Orioles who just sold, the Angelos family got out, and now Artie Moreno, owner of the Angels. Again, that's the rumor on MLB Network, their radio channel on Sirius Satellite. You would have thought that something like that wouldn't even be allowed as a conversation, but they had it. They put it out there, and so we're just taking it a step further. Hey, you made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll help me and this channel. And if you're new here, if you've never seen me or this channel before, thank you for finding me, obviously, but make sure you subscribe so I can definitely see you back here next time.